Hello, Packers fans, wherever you may be across the world. Today is a victory Monday as the Packers handle business against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football with a final score of 35 to 25. Did not start out as the prettiest game for the Packers, much like we saw when I went to the game against the Cardinals live. Similar situation, down in the second half, and then they rip roared and actually came back and had a bigger, more definitive win than they had against the Cardinals, which I think is a really big statement game for the NFL because, the Steelers are well respected across the league as being a very solid team. They're a division leader. It was a game on the road in a stadium that can be very hostile to the road team in the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium. So this is a legitimate win. You know, um, NFL naysayers can say, you beat the Bengals, you beat the Cardinals on the road. This is a signature win against a divisional opponent where there was a lot of emotion, there was a lot of pride on the line for both the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and the Packers. Like, this game had it all. So, huge victory Monday for us. The Packers have been, you know, denigrated in power rankings for the last couple of weeks because of their opponents. I would like to see the rankers continue to dismiss the Packers after this win. They are first in the NFC as far as standings right now in the conference. They have solid wins over the last 3 weeks, and they appear to be definitely building momentum going into that huge matchup against the Eagles 2 weeks from today. Very excited to see what happens in that game. That could be a conference deciding game. And then 2 weeks after that, they have a huge matchup against the Detroit Lions. So there's so much on the line over the next couple weeks. And I feel like the Packers are really ascending right now. They're getting healthy. They had a big return of Christian Watson, who was a huge impact in the game last night. They still have so many things that they can fix and get better on. Injuries, the running game, special teams could definitely use some improvement. There's so many things for improvement, and yet the Packers are finding ways to win huge games. Before we discuss the game in depth, we've been stuck at just over 11,000 subs for about a week or so. Would love to get to 12,000 subs before that game against the Eagles. So if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. If you have subscribed, hit that like button because it helps other people discover this channel. So let's talk about our feelings of the game before we talk about the game itself. I felt extremely nostalgic for Aaron Rodgers. They played lots of tape about him as a Packer. There was lots of talk about the competition between the Packers, Jordan Love, and Aaron Rodgers in this game. But I felt so grateful to Aaron Rodgers. On the one hand, he showed what a great player and competitor he is in this game. At the same time, he kind of showed what an asshole he was at the end of the game. He was pouting when he knew he wasn't going to win. As far as I know, he declined to exchange jerseys with Jordan Love. There was just a lot of reminders of, oh yeah, that's why we moved on from Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that Jordan Love played at such an amazing level in the second half of this game really highlighted the fact that the Packers continue to make amazing decisions with the quarterback position. NBC had a statistic, I think they showed it last night, where 97% of the snaps at quarterback since 1995 have been handled by 3 quarterbacks in Packers history. And that's truly amazing when you look at how many teams have had 15, 20, 25 quarterbacks in that span. Looking at you, Browns. So it really has a huge impact on stability and the progress of your roster if you could put your hat on the fact that we have great quarterbacks year in and year out, year after year. The most important position is being handled with great skill by the players that we have. And that's a huge thing for the Packers every single year. And Jordan Love is really coming into his own right now. He had a huge game on national TV. Everybody was watching that game. MVP conversations probably going to be ramping up more and more. If he has a good game against the Panthers and then he has a similar game like this against the Eagles where the Packers win over the Eagles, hopefully in 2 weeks, that is really going to start the drumbeat for Jordan Love being strongly considered for MVP. Really going into that also is if they win the division. So there's a lot at stake right now, but Jordan Love is really making a case that he should be considered an MVP quality player. So another thing that was really amazing to me, and part of it was probably because I was there at the Cardinals game when the Cardinals were up by a significant amount at halftime, and Packers came roaring back and won that game. At halftime, I still felt like they had a 60 to 55% chance of winning the game. Even though they were behind by 9, things really hadn't gone right in the first half. I knew with their defense and their explosive offense, they could get into the game quickly, and they did. At one point at the start of the third quarter, the Packers had a 22% chance of winning that game. 22%. And by the end of the third quarter, they were the favorite to win the game. There was such a shift in the third quarter of this game. The defense played amazing, and the offense just scored points after points after points after points, and they really just buried the Steelers. If it wasn't for that last-minute catch at the end of the game, it would have been even more of a blowout. I still question whether that was actually a catch in the end zone for the final touchdown for the Steelers, but it is what it is at this point. But it was amazing that the Packers came back and dominated that half as much as they did. It was a tale of two halves, really even a tale of a quarter, right? Packers struggled in the first half, and then in one quarter of the game, the combination of defense plus offense took the game over in such a big way. Still a little frustrated by some of the play calling. Not in the second half. I think Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love were on the same page, and they had a great second half. But the first half really was frustrated with some of the play callings. The biggest mistake that I think Matt LaFleur made in this game, and again, he was big in the Packers coming back to win this game. So overall, I give Matt LaFleur a positive grade for this game. But I didn't understand going for a 57-yard field goal early in the game when you had the lead versus just punting the ball away and relying on your defense. They went for a long field goal. They missed it. And that really helped the Steelers go down, get a field goal, get back into the game. And I think that was a big momentum shift that changed the first half pretty drastically. I don't understand why you go for a 57-yard field goal with a kicker that is coming off a significant injury that you haven't seen him kick the ball yet in a game. You've maybe seen him in practice a little bit, but not in the game. His first kick coming back from an injury, a 57-yard field goal, just didn't make sense to me. And I think that was one call that I think Matt LaFleur would like to have back. If you asked him, I'll bet you he would say, we probably should have punted there and used our defense to get a stop and get right back into the game. So that was my biggest negative for Matt LaFleur, but overall, great to see. So proud of the defense in the second half and the play from the offense, especially Jordan Love and Tucker Kraft. I think Matt LaFleur, I know Matt LaFleur, I'm sure the way he thinks is even on that flight home, he said, okay, against the Panthers, they're really going to be focused on Tucker Kraft. So we have to find some ways to get the wide receivers some big opportunities in this game against the Panthers that's coming up. Just my thoughts. Looking ahead at now that Tucker Kraft was the winner on tight end day, I think defenses are really going to focus on trying to slow down Tucker Kraft, and that's an opportunity for you to counter program your offense and really focus on maybe even using Tucker Kraft as a decoy sometimes to get some double coverage on Tucker Kraft so you can get some big plays in the passing game or the running game. So we'll see that hopefully on Sunday. Let's talk about keys to victory in this game. Number one, Jordan Love, in my opinion, had the best game he's had as a pro. Maybe he's had games where he's had more touchdowns, but he was in such command of this game, he really showed why the Packers moved on from Aaron Rodgers. He completed 29 of 37 passes for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. And at least 3 of those incompletions were 100% on the receivers. So it probably could have been closer to like 32 of 37 passes in this game. He also had a situation at the end of the fourth quarter where Matthew Golden was wide open, but he didn't see it. Otherwise, that probably would have been a 4th touchdown in this game. That he was just dominant. He had 20 straight completions to tie the Packers record with Brett Favre, and he clearly outdueled Aaron Rodgers in this game. Tucker Kraft had his breakout game, 42 catches, 7 catches, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 42 catches would have been very impressive in one game. The second touchdown in the fourth quarter sealed the win. That was a great play where he just willed himself into the end zone. Really loved that play. Great job by Jordan Love getting him the ball there. In the second half, the Packers outscored the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-9. And that was a huge showing of what the Green Bay Packers can do. Okay? I'm still waiting for the Packers to give us a complete game for all 4 quarters. I think when that happens, they can beat any team in the league, including the Lions, including the Eagles, but they need to put a full game together, all 4 quarters, like they did week 1 against the Lions, to go against these elite teams. But the combination of shutdown defense when they need it and explosive offense really means the Green Bay Packers are in any game as long as they're within 10 points, in my opinion. If it gets over 10 points, then I think the Packers are going to press. Matt LaFleur might overthink himself, and that's where you're going to get some troubles. All right, Josh Jacobs had some struggle in this game as far as total points, total yardage, but he had a key touchdown, and he converted a 2-point try, giving the Packers some really good breathing room in this game. Also, Emmanuel Wilson came in, and they were a great tandem to get the total yardage that the Packers needed on the ground. I'm hoping Josh Jacobs will continue to get off of his calf injury and get some better blocking, hopefully against the Panthers, and we can get back to having some really big Josh Jacobs yardage games, which we need for games against the Lions and games against the Eagles. Those are going to be big games where we need to control the clock by running the ball. Defensive stops in this game. Packers defense held the Steelers to 1 of 10 on third downs. That was huge in this game. That is a key indicator that on critical downs, this defense can stop a very good offense cold with timely sacks and good coverage. They had 3 sacks and a forced turnover that was a big part of extending their lead in the second half. So congrats to the defense. Christian Watson, 4 receptions on 4 targets. So he caught every single target for 85 yards on 35 snaps. He was also a great blocker in this game and a great decoy at times in this game. Christian Watson was a huge part of how the Packers came back in this game. So let's take a look now at Jordan Love's stats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me 1 second. We're going to take a look at Jordan Love's ascendancy, not just in this season, but in his career. He's truly hitting his prime as a Packers quarterback. So let's take a look at that from NFL Stats right here. First of all, let's look at his big games so far this season. Biggest game in the year statistically was against the Steelers last night. He also played great week 1 against the Lions. He played very good against the Cowboys to get that tie. Otherwise, the Packers probably would have lost that game. His next game, which was very solid, was against a Commanders team, which was a lot better in week 2 than it is right now. And then he had a great game against the Bengals as well. And his 2 down games, Cardinals, he still found a way to win the game. And the Browns was our 1 loss. So as you can see, Jordan Love is ascending in a substantial way. And I think if he continues to progress, where week in and week out, he can get to the level where he played against the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Steelers every week, this team can only get better as we get towards the playoffs. Now let's take a look at his career years so far. Again, number 1 so far is 2025. Then he had 1 start in 2022. We're not going to really count that one, although it was against the Chiefs. Very solid. And then in 2023 and 2024, he had up and down seasons. But look at how much he's improved in 2025 compared to 2024 and 2023. Jordan Love is clearly playing the best he's played so far this season. So I just wanted to touch on that. Let's go ahead and go back to our main view here. So we're going to have some additional review. PFF hasn't upgraded their grades yet for players. I want to take a look at that probably tomorrow. Tomorrow we should also have some injury updates and news from press conferences as they get back into practicing for the Panthers. And then at the end of this week, we're going to talk about how important it is for the Packers to take what they learned from this game and really pound it against the Panthers next Sunday. So we've got a lot of talk about this week. Very excited about Victory Monday here. And as always, go Pack Go. And this team is clearly ascending at the right time of the season. We'll talk to you tomorrow with some more news and notes about your Packers and start looking ahead at how they're going to beat the Panthers next Sunday. Talk to you then.